Hi everyone, this is Dr. Mike, and this is another Saving Savvy episode. This is another kind of editorial episode. My personal opinion is being represented here, so please take that into account. You may have a different opinion. That is okay. That's why we are human beings. We have our own opinions. We don't have to be little sheep that lockstep one after another. So I need to put my muting on just to make sure. So you probably saw the camera shake here a little bit. Well, one of my viewers rightly said that I had tremendous barrel distortion when I was doing these videos, and that's because I'm just basically using my webcam on my computer. So I have my webcam up on two precarious little boxes, or my computer up on two precarious little boxes. So hopefully there's no vibration that's going to happen because we'll have a computer on the floor. But that's my lack of planning, or my lack of dedication to putting this on a more solid base. Anyway, so I saw a few more YouTube videos that kind of peeved me, and it just brought up this whole topic of, can you even trust YouTube anymore, which is very disappointing. So I will tell you a story. This was probably well over 10 years ago, I remember trying to figure out how to use this particular fancy knife sharpener that I bought. And I was looking, and I came upon a YouTube video. The video was not well produced at all, but it had the information that I needed. And I was so grateful to get that information. I thought, this is an amazing resource. And so I decided to start my own channel, first talking about how to pack a lunch, and then talking a lot about cameras and cooking equipment and camping and whatever else I could think of that I had an interest in. And so I really looked at YouTube as this fantastic resource, but that is changing. And it's not only changing with YouTube, it's changing with the internet in general. So in the bygone days, media sources like newspapers and television channels had a responsibility to attempt to present the news accurately. And if they made a mistake, they had to put a public announcement on either their TV show or in the newspaper. But that has changed. Even with that sort of media, now you can pretty much publish anything that you want, but it has really gone overboard on the internet. I mean, just if you have a Facebook account and you start looking at these fake news stories, please don't read them. I don't care if if you are in the U.S. and you are a Democrat or Republican. These are very opposing viewpoints, right? And you are going to find news stories that support either of those positions. But unfortunately, many times they're just complete BS. So please vet these stories, check them out, make sure that they're accurate before you ever repeat them, because you're just going to look foolish. But today we're not talking about that. Today we're talking about more videos on YouTube. Now, the D6, which is Nikon's new super flagship camera, is coming out. The specs are out. No one except for a few select people, typically people that are in some way employed by Nikon as like an ambassador or whatever, have the camera. But because of this crazy need to have content, a lot of the very big influencers, camera influencers on YouTube, are doing reviews based on specifications. Now, if you're a photographer that takes any pictures that has used more than one camera, you know that specifications are important, but they're only a small part of what a camera is about. There's a lot of high-spec cameras that don't deliver on their specs. There's a lot of high-spec cameras that are not very pleasant to use. There's a lot of high-spec cameras that just don't have good ergonomics. It's a very small factor. And when you take specifications off of a sheet or off of a 1-minute video, it's even more ridiculous. So what's really disturbing is that you have these high-profile influencers, and I'm talking about the couple, the big hair guy, the guy formerly from Australia, basically panning this camera based on very little information. Now, I would say that the people that are going to buy the D6 are very high-end sports photographers. They're not going to be watching these guys anyways. So why even do this? Well, it impacts an overall feeling about a brand, right? So if you're saying that the flagship camera is bad, then you're also implying to all of us minions down here that maybe the other cameras maybe aren't quite as good or not as quite as technical as another brand, let's say Sony or whatever, right? I don't know if that's what's going on. This is my opinion. Could be something completely different. Could be just that they need content and they've got to present that content and they got to come up with something. So here's a press release so everyone jumps in and they talk about their content. Likewise, they're talking about the new Canon R6. There's a lot of reviewers that are, but what they're doing is they are looking not only at the specs, which are very, very limited from Canon, but then they're using the aggregated rumor data. Even more ridiculous. Why do I want to watch something based on a couple of specs and rumor data and then actually waste my time doing that? I mean, it's not like the world will change when a new camera comes out. I can wait a couple of months until people get that camera in their hands and they actually use it. And you know what? It's not even when you use that camera for a week. It's really when you use that camera for a couple of months that makes the difference. So I'm just saying that please, guys, if you're watching these videos and you're going, oh, this is good, this is bad, don't support channels that are doing things that don't help you become better photographers, that are giving you a lot of data. Again, my personal opinion. And I'm watching those videos, so you might call me a hypocrite. I'm not perfect. I'm really trying to lower those views down. But of course, I get stuck by the clickbait too. I want to see what's going on too. And then I watch it and I think to myself, my God, I just wasted 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 18 minutes, whatever it may be. Why did I do that? So, unfortunately, this is an extended past cameras, of course, as you would expect. So as you know, in one of my earlier videos, I was complaining that I was on an airline and the seating was very, very tight. And I was really looking for a bag because the bag that I currently had, which I liked very much, this little Manfrotto backpack, I just couldn't even get my feet under the chair. The seating was so bad on this. It was Spirit Airlines. And so I said, I need a new bag. So a lot of people offered some really good suggestions. I didn't go with them for whatever reason. I'm going to try a few different bags and see what works. But I did try to look up under the seat bags on YouTube. Again, trying to get some real reviews. And I came across all these different views or these different videos. And here again, I came across this one. This attractive woman is talking about this bag that has changed her life. And, after a while I realized, wait, she's just way too enthusiastic about a piece of luggage. She's swooning over a zipper pull. She's just out of her mind, crazy happy over a pocket. Something is wrong here. That person never mentioned that she got the bag for free or she was being paid by the company to promote the bag or whatever. But gee, in my mind, it was a little bit over the top about a piece of luggage. And I suspect the same thing. Story number 3. So if you're like me, you probably see all of these very quick, highly paced cooking videos. Usually there's an overhead shot or a microwave shot, and they mix a couple of ingredients and they make these absolutely fabulous dinners. Now, I have made 1 or 2 of these in the past, and I always kind of thought, what did I do wrong? It doesn't kind of look like what was on the video, and it really is not that inspired. But there's a bunch of these videos that are even more ridiculous. Now, I am a bread baker. I regularly make bread of all different types. I typically make about 6 loaves of 100% whole wheat bread frequently. So I make bread, and bread's not difficult to make, but you need certain things to make bread, right? So there's this one video where they just mixed flour and yogurt. And they made this beautiful loaf. They show it rising in the oven. Well, there's a lady from, I think, Australia, a really cool lady. And she, I think she's a food scientist, and she reviews these things. And she made a real loaf of bread right next to this yogurt bread. The yogurt bread was this stodgy brick, and the real bread was, of course, delicious. So, it's complete baloney. There was another lady, I think, that was so yummy that gave the bread recipe. I think a Tasty was another one that someone else reviewed, a Tasty recipe. Literally, in this recipe, they combined melted cheese with eggs to make pasta. Does this even make any sense? Because pasta is a grain-based thing. I mean, it's like making bread with cheese. You don't make bread with cheese, you make cheese with cheese. And of course, when this woman actually tested it, she said, this was disgusting, it didn't work, it was horrible. But these videos here again are so popular because they're produced so well and the results look so good that it's actually pushing real food demonstrators on YouTube off because they can't get the views because they can't reproduce this easy, fast-paced, high glossy production that doesn't give you what you want to give. So when I look at all these different things that I've just exposed myself to recently, these fake kind of camera preview reviews, food recipes, luggage reviews, what am I seeing? I'm seeing that a lot of what we see on YouTube just is not true. And this is so sad because in this one food scientist reviewer, she was saying that some of these food recipes were actually dangerous. I mean, they would encourage your kid, for instance, to do one of them, and maybe it would explode in the microwave or possibly cause a fire, or could cause really dangerous things. And when people complain on YouTube, YouTube will say, well, this doesn't violate our policy. Too bad. But there's no disclaimer on these videos that say that they're being sponsored by something or that they're making up this to get clicks or whatever. We just accept this, and because we're so accustomed to looking at this sort of stuff, that it has validity. And so here again, I want to repeat one of my mantras, something that I say all the time, and I think I'm going to do a video on a part of this, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But when it comes to photography, any intermediate or higher level camera from the last 10 years now, produces excellent pictures, focuses well, performs well in low light, he has good dynamic range, and anything else that you need it to do. Now, of course, newer cameras do better things. Newer cameras do better video for sure. But if you're interested in being a photographer, in fact, what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to do a video on what to look for in a used camera if you're just starting out as a photographer, because I think that has some value. I mean, you can go out and get a really, really excellent camera for a couple $100 now. I mean, just a really fantastic camera that's going to suit the majority of people's needs. And so why are you spending $3,000, $6,000 on a camera, or even $3,000 on a single lens, when, although those are super awesome, you don't have to? So I think I'll probably do a video on that too. But anyways, I wanted to, again, emphasize this point. Don't take this stuff that you see on YouTube at its face value. Use your critical skills, your critical thinking skills, and if it just doesn't seem right, or if the data is not there, don't pay attention to it. How many times have influencers said something's going to happen or something is bad, and then it's just proven not to be the case? How many times have we heard that we have to go to 4K and then the influencers go back to 1080p? Or we hear that this camera is terrible, but then people say, well, on second thought, it's pretty good. I just think, I don't know what the deal is, but if you don't have a lot of money, you have to think carefully about how you're spending that money. And I'm telling you, you can get a fantastic camera for very little money nowadays. That's not going to help the camera companies, which is kind of sad because I know they're struggling, but it will help you. Anyway, that's my little editorial for today. And if you like it, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, give me a thumbs down. If you want to write a comment, awesome. If you want to write even a negative comment, awesome. But don't be a 12-year-old about it. If you're being an ass, I'll delete it. But anything else is fine. I'm a big boy. I can handle it. And just have a wonderful day. And thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.